Hey everyone, this is Jack. This is going to be a bar-by-bar review for the S&P 500 futures contract for Tuesday, May 26, 2026. You can see my chart markup and comments for the day there. Starting with the daily chart, we have a strong bull trend that became a parabolic wedge top, and that led to a pullback. And you could look at this as possibly a wedge bull flag, or an implied two-legged pullback down to a double bottom. And the bulls then got a reversal up and follow through. And yesterday, or Friday, we had more follow through. We went almost to the high close from the all-time high and pulled back, and we had a doji bar. So today, it's likely that the sellers are going to want to try to trigger the sell. We could do that by gapping below the bar, or we could do that by gapping up and selling off. And that would be reasonable to expect for potential double top and a trading range. Bears looking for a second leg down from this first leg down. But we're always in long, and we're probably going to form a broader bull channel and wider trading range. So the bulls are likely buying at and below the bar, looking for continuation up. And we could get that in the form of a gap up or a gap down in a rally. So I imagine we'll probably form some version of a trading range day or trending trading range day. And if we go above the high close here or the all-time high, we may find sellers above. But the bulls are going to try their best to get continuation here because the market is always in long. And on the 5-minute chart, we have bar 1. Well, first we have a gap up that is a little bit bigger than half an average day's range. And we have a bear bar on bar 1. So that's bad for the bulls. We have a big breakout up. And that you could visualize that as a big bull trend bar. And it looks like we're triggering a pullback here. But with most opens, we'll probably create a trading range. So I imagine we go at least a little bit lower, but probably just to find buyers. We also have a swing point on the daily chart. That would be the high close from the daily chart, and this is the all-time high, not far above. So probably buyers not that far below, and we're probably going to try to get to a new all-time high. We're not very far from it. It looks like we have the Globex low just below bar 1, and we have yesterday's high, this small green line here. We have the open of the day, this orange line, and the midpoint of the Globex range here. So the Globex range, we have the low here and the high here. It's very likely that the market is going to want to try to get up here or break out to the downside and get a measured move down of some kind. But with bar 1, we have a big enough bar and strong enough close that we probably go at least a little bit more sideways to down, but probably a trading range on the open. So buyers below 1, reversing up, tail above and below the bar. Could be a pullback, but could be an opening reversal up, looking for a new high of the day and a new all-time high. And that's what we have with bar 3. Pretty big bar, could be a climax, possibly sellers up here, but sellers above 1 are now trapped and upside down, so they may use a pullback to get out, and that will create a second leg up. And strong enough bar that we probably go at least a little higher. Bar 4, good follow through and a sign of urgency. A small tail below the prior 2 bars, a good indication of buying pressure. But this could simply be an opening reversal trap for the bulls, and we may reverse down here. Probably buyers somewhere below 4, maybe at the breakout point, possibly the stop entry price for the bulls. Possibly always in long, but if we're in a trading range, this may be the high and that may be the low, so we could get back there. We found sellers at the close, and we have an opening reversal down, a strong bear breakout on 5, but a pretty bad close, big tail on the bottom of the bar. So we probably go at least a little bit lower, but we may find buy the close bulls here looking for an opening trend up and a bull channel. And that's what we have with bar 6. We have buy the close bulls buying aggressively. It's likely that we'll get to the high close at a minimum, probably a new high of the day. It's a pretty good size bar, and it's undoing a lot of what bar 5 did. And you could look at this as the leg starting with the low of bar 5, and that's a pretty good size move up. Even if we do pull back, likely we'll find the low close of 5 or maybe the midpoint of bar 6 as support, and we'll probably get a new high of the day here. Good follow through on 7, but pulling back into the close of the bar, closing inside of the range of bar 4, so a subtle sign of weakness here, but probably always in long and probably going at least a little bit higher. I imagine that we're going to want to try to form a trading range, so we probably will find sellers somewhere above the high of bar 7 and bar 4. But right now, always in long and probably going a little bit higher. Good follow through with 8. Probably a pullback is due. We're getting smaller bodies, smaller bars. So I imagine we pull back here, but probably buyers on a pullback for another leg up. And you can see that bar 9 reversed down initially, letting out the limit order bears that were selling above 5. And we created support around the high of bar 4, and we rallied. So that's a good indication that we're probably going to go a little bit higher, but now we have a lot of overlap with 8 and 9, and we could be trying to create a tight trading range here. So there could be sellers above the highs, and we may pull back more. Bar 10, more good follow through. We have a micro channel since 5, and this is 5 or 6 consecutive bars up. So likely we'll pull back soon, but probably the pullback will be minor, and we'll go higher. Bar 11 broke out above and reversed down, but it's not a very strong sell signal bar, so probably buyers not far below bar 11. And we have bar 12. We found some sellers above bar 11. So now it looks like we're trying to form a wedge top and a tight trading range. We may find more sellers above and more buyers below, but probably still always in long. Maybe we go sideways to down, but probably we try to retest the highs at a minimum. Bar 13, inside bear bar, and a decent sell, but a small bar and a prominent tail above the bar and a small tail below the bar. Probably buyers somewhere around the 12 low or possibly below 13, expecting a tight trading range and a retest of this high close at a minimum. And instead, buyers at the close. We have 14 racing to a new high of the day. But we have a conspicuous tail on this bar, and we closed inside the range of the prior 2 bars. So not very good for the bulls. Looks like the market wants to form a wedge top here, so the bears may be able to get a swing down if they get a strong enough sell signal on the next bar or 2, but still always in long, and we have a tight trading range and no strong sell signals yet. So reasonable to think about buying and buying pullback here. I would just be quick to make decisions if we start to turn down. Good follow through on 15, but an inside bar. We tested the high of 14 and did not go one tick above it. And that is because we're probably forming a trading range here, and we may find more sellers above than buyers. Candidate for a swing down for the bears. We have a micro wedge top, 1, 2, 3, and a micro double top, 14, 15, and now we're turning down 16. And we have a big wedge top. So this could be an opening reversal down that leads to a swing short for the bears. If we do have a trading range day, that's a pretty reasonable premise, but if we have a trending trading range bull trend day, we'll probably find buyers below either of these lows here, the swing point on 12 or the low of 14, the last buy climax. But this is a pretty strong sell signal. It's not closing beyond the prior bar, but I imagine that we trigger the short, and we probably will find more sellers below the bar than buyers. For that reason, I expect we test the low of 14 or the low of 12 at a minimum. We initially found more buyers at and below the bar. We pulled back and tested the high close, letting out the buy the close bulls, and we reversed down sharply. We broke below 16, and we have a pretty decent close, but we have a pretty big tail inside of the bar, so we may find more buyers below these lows like I mentioned, but this is a reasonable start to the swing down for the bears. So if you're a bull hoping for a trading range or a trending trading range, you got to be thinking that this could be the start of a swing for the bears. And we're getting more follow-through with sell the close bears on 18. But if we turn up on the next bar, that could be a double bottom with 12 or the low close on 13. But reasonable to be thinking about selling here, probable trading range at a minimum. So probably sellers not far above looking for a second leg down. And then bar 19, pretty strong bear breakout bar. This time we close the gap between the breakout point on the 4 close and 4 high. And we're just above the all-time high, the previous all-time high, and we're not that far from the moving average. So I imagine we probably get to the moving average, and we may bounce there for support. This could be a climax in a trading range. And if we turn up on the next bar, probably we get sellers above, but it would be reasonable to expect a pullback here. And for traders that are flat or thinking about the bear swing, I don't know, I would be cautious here. This could be a climax, but likely we go more sideways to down here. Bar 20 broke below the moving average, found buyers. Did not reach the low close on 5, a swing point on a line chart. And we might have to get there, so there may be more sellers at and above this bar. And for the bulls, they're looking for another higher low in a broad bull channel, but the problem is we have a pretty strong breakout down, a pretty tight channel at a minimum. So probably sellers somewhere above the bar. And for the bulls that were looking for a wedge bull flag with 18, 19 broke far enough below that price that should have held. So if we do pull back, we may find sellers around the midpoint or the low of 18, the midpoint of 19 or the low of 18. Instead, we have sell to close bears. Pretty good sell signal. I imagine we trigger the sell and probably test the low of 20. We might bounce at the low close on 5 or the low of 5 if we get there. So far, we have a pretty tight channel down. We have 4 consecutive bars down. We have a pullback. We may get 4 more consecutive bars, so that's the risk for the bulls. The risk for the bears is this could be the bottom of a trading range. We're right at the moving average, closing at the moving average, and we may trigger the low 1 and pull back and break out above 20. But right now, possibly always in short, possibly in a bear swing down on a trading range day. Probably better to be short than long, and probably better to be flat below 20 than short. We broke below 20, reversed up. We tested the low close on 5, found support. We also tested the open of the day. But we have a breakout pullback short with bar 22. Reasonable to think about selling above the bar. Reasonable to sell the bar, sell the close, but we may pull back. But probably going more sideways to down here. 23. A lot of overlap here. Looks like the market is trying to form a bottom with the low close on bar 5. But we have a tight channel down, and we actually have a micro channel since bar 14. We have not had a high go above the high of the prior bar since that time. And so therefore, the first reversal up likely to be minor and probably sellers above any of the highs. So probably more sideways to down here. And then 24, that's the 4th consecutive bar down. We now have a symmetrical leg 1 pullback, leg 2, but we're not really at support, and we're below the slow close that was trying to be support. So if we're failing that level there and breaking out again, bar 24 may be a new bear breakout, and we will probably reach the low of 5, the low close of 1, this daily chart swing point, the Globex low, the high of yesterday. All of that is within reach for the bears because this is such a tight channel down with very small pullbacks. It's a small pullback bear trend on the next lower time frame, and it's a strong breakout on this time frame. So we could accelerate down because the market should have found support here around this low close. We tried to bounce on 22, we tried to bounce 23, 24, and now we're breaking out again, so we may accelerate down. Bar 25, a doji, not what the bears were hoping for, but sellers probably not far above, not a very good buy signal bar, possible double bottom with the low of 5, but very tight channel down. Even if we do pull back, we will probably find sellers above the highs of any of these bars here. Sell to close bears, but again, finding buyers below, trying to double bottom with the Globex low with bar 2, and we reversed up, but we have a pretty weak buy signal bar. Maybe we trigger the buy, but that would still be the first trend line break in this tight bear channel, and there's probably sellers not far above these bars. We have sell to close bears again, and this time a stronger sell signal bar, but closing a little bit above that swing point. And I imagine we find buyers below 2 and 26, the Globex low, the high of yesterday. But I imagine we trigger the sell and go a little bit lower before we find those buyers. We have one leg with 4 bars, a second leg with 4 bars, and now we might be starting a third leg, and we might get 4 more bars down. That's the risk for the bulls. And for the bears, this is the third leg down, very likely to find buyers below the lows here. We're probably sideways to down here. Good follow through 28, still a micro channel, so pretty strong breakout. Bears are hoping for a good breakout here that leads to a measured move down, but we have a complex breakout, and I imagine we find buyers not far below. And then we have a climax on 29. This could accelerate further. We have 3 bars down, not 4, so we could get another bar down, but I imagine we find a pullback soon. Micro channels that last this long are very low probability, so we will probably pull back here in the next bar or two, but probably still sellers not far above any of these bars. Buyers immediately below, we reversed up, we have a strong buy signal bar. We probably trigger the buy and go a little bit higher, but I imagine sellers above any of these bars here. We might try to pull back to 26, a place where we tried to create a double bottom, and it looks like a swing point of some kind and a failure point. But I imagine sellers probably around the midpoint of the leg. Good follow through, 31, but a tail. Probably buyers somewhere below, maybe in the midpoint of 30 or some distance below 31. Maybe we go a little bit higher, but I imagine sellers here. And then 32, pretty good sell signal bar. I imagine we go a little bit lower, but we may get disappointing follow through here and try to form a trading range. And that's what we're probably doing with 33. We pulled back, went a little bit lower, closed as a doji. Probably buyers not that far below. Bulls probably get a second leg up from this rally. 34, possible micro double top with 31, but I imagine we go a little bit higher, maybe to the moving average. Probably sellers above the high, 31. Small follow through bar, closing above the prior bar, so that's good. Looks like we're closing right about the swing point, so we probably get to the moving average or a little bit higher, but I imagine sellers not that far above. Acceleration on bar 36. We're very close to the high close on 26. So maybe we go a little bit higher. We have 2 bars up in the first leg, and now we have 3 or 4 bars up in the second leg. So probably we start to pull back here. Looks pretty symmetrical to me. So I imagine sellers up here around 26 or the high of 27. But another bar up. The market could be flipping to always and long, but we have pretty small bars, and we're right around a place where we may double top. Right around the open of the day, we may find sellers there for another push down before we create a major trend reversal. This is still likely probably a minor reversal. We have 2 legs up, and the second leg has a pause. So it's very likely that the bears could get another swing down if we start to turn down on the next bar. Bar 38, a strong sell signal. I imagine we trigger the sell. We may pull back and retest the high close like we did up here. But I imagine we test down to the 36 low, possibly to the low close on 32, a swing point on a line chart. And we probably form a trading range. Good entry bar for the bears. Probably sell the close, looking for a test down. May pull back here, but probably sellers above the bar and at the stop entry price for the bears on 38 low. 40, pretty strong close. Reasonable to think about selling the close, but the risk is a trading range down here. We may have buyers at the low close on 32 or below 33 and at the low close on 29. But for the bulls, we have a tight bear channel, a bear breakout, and it's likely that we'll find sellers even if we do pull back here. But a strong buy signal bar on 41 may make the bears reconsider selling until we get further up to the high close or at least the midpoint of the leg. This is a reasonable buy setup for a double bottom. We may pull back here, but I imagine we get another couple of legs sideways to up. Bears looking for a second leg down, but a lot of overlap here, possibly more buyers below 42 than sellers. Second leg up for the bulls, testing the moving average. Looks like a 2-legged pullback in a bear trend to me. We might go a little bit higher, but I imagine sellers not far above 43. We have a pause. I imagine sellers not far above and buyers not far below. And then a bull bar. This could be a wedge bear flag. We may make a new high above 43, but I imagine sellers at and above this bar for another test down of the low close on 40 or possibly the low of 33. Sellers here, possible double bottom, 40, 46 if we turn up on the following bar. We have a tight trading range, yes, wedge bear flag, possibly a triangle, and a bear breakout of that triangle, so we may pull back up into that range, but a pretty strong sell signal bar. Maybe we go a little bit lower. I imagine buyers somewhere down here for a trading range rather than trend resumption for the bears. Strong buying pressure on 41 and pretty decent buying pressure through the wedge bear flag, but strong sell-off. So this could be the second leg down or the start of the second leg down. We may need to go a little bit lower before we find buyers. Pulled back and channeled lower. Not all that convincing of follow-through for the bears. I imagine buyers below the bars, possibly below 33. Good follow-through, but tail And we tested the low close on 29, so that's a double bottom if we turn up on the next bar. And we have a strong buy signal bar. The problem is it's racing up, back up into the tight trading range where we may find a second leg down for the bears, possibly sellers above 47, a swing point on a smaller time frame. So bad follow through and a decent reversal bar, but a strong buy signal bar. So this could just be a pullback and we may find more buyers below, possibly at the low close on 48. And it looks like that's what we have with 51. Not a very strong buy signal bar, but reasonable, looking for a second leg up and at least a double top with 45. And that's what we have with 52. So I imagine we get a little bit of follow through, but I imagine we pull back as well. Double top back in the midpoint of the triangle here and right at the moving average. So I imagine we find hesitation. Another strong sell signal, a second entry short, double top 45, 52, but a lot of buying pressure here. Probably we trigger the sell, but possibly buyers around the 52 low. And it looks like that's what we have with 54. We have a doji, breakout pullback sell. Probably buyers below the low and probably buyers at the close looking for a new high in this rally, but probably sellers not far above 53. Micro double bottom and a buy signal. Probably buyers here, and we're looking for a test up above these trading range highs. And 56, good indication that we'll go a little bit higher. Possible wedge bear flag, double top. So possibly sellers here, but I imagine we go at least a little bit higher. And then 57 looks like a buy the close rally, but the bars are small. I imagine we find sellers somewhere above the 39 high or possibly the high close if we can get there. Still possible wedge, and looks like the rally is becoming parabolic, so maybe we go a little bit higher, but I would be worried about a possible double top and a trading range up here. Good bar, shaved top. We probably go a little bit higher, but this is a pretty good looking bar to take profits if you're long from the micro double bottom. So I imagine sellers not far above. Not a very strong sell signal, but reasonable. Maybe we pull back, retest the high close, and then find sellers above. And it looks like that's what we're doing here with 60. Possible sell to close bar, but bulls have enough buying pressure that we may find buyers below 58, possibly 57, and we may need to pull back here. Micro double top 58, double top 37, and right around the open of the day where we sold off aggressively before. So reasonable to think that we trigger the buy and then reverse down, and instead sellers at the close. Reasonable to think about selling the close here, tight trading range, we might pull back again, possibly buyers below, but enough selling pressure makes me think we go sideways to down. Good entry bar and a suspiciously strong close right around the midpoint of this strong rally and right around the breakout point here, 53. So maybe we go a little bit lower, but I'd be worried about buyers below. We channeled lower, 64, but not very good follow through if you're looking for a swing down. The bears need to accelerate down, otherwise I'm inclined to believe that we'll find buyers somewhere around the stop entry price for the bulls or below these lows or these lows. Outside bar, sellers above, buyers below. Probably more buyers below if we turn down, probably more sellers above if we reverse up. But bulls are going to be looking for a second leg up from this rally. So if we do turn down, that would be a wedge bottom, and we would probably hesitate below the low of 65. And if we turn up, bears are going to look for a second leg down. So probably sellers not far above. And then 66, good follow through for bears looking for a swing with 3 pushes down and right near the low close on 54. So we may find more buyers here. And we reverse up for a second time. That would be possible wedge bottom, possible double bottom, higher low, and what could be a bull channel. Bulls buying here, looking for a new high in the trading range, and bears selling here, looking for acceleration down and trend resumption from the earlier trend, looking for a bear trending trading range day. But so far, we have a trading range down here, and we have a trading range day overall. So I imagine more buyers below and possibly buyers at the close of the bar. We tested the low close on 66, reversed up. We have a good buy signal bar. Probably we'll find buyers here. We may pull back, but I imagine the bulls will look for a test above 65 and up to the 61 close at a minimum. Double top 65, reasonable sell signal here, but a tight trading range, probably buyers not far below. And then bar 70, a pretty good looking buy signal bar. Micro double top if we turn down, tight trading range, possibly sellers above, but bulls are going to want second leg up from this rally after a wedge and a double bottom, so we might get another bar up before we turn down. Good follow through. Reasonable to look for sideways to up here, but could be 2 legs up and a possible double top with 65, but a micro channel since 67, so possibly buyers below even if we turn down. 72, a small bar near the top of a tight trading range, possibly sell the close bears here, but still a micro channel, and that's a sign of strength. So even if we do break out below, I imagine we find buyers near the low close or in the range of 70. Bulls are going to look for a test up. Bears are looking for a double top bear flag and a test down, but so far they don't have it. And we have acceleration with bar 73. Strong bull breakout. We'll probably get above the high close and above the trading range highs and test the open of the day at a minimum. It's around 330, and if we're going to have a buy the close rally into the close of the day, it usually begins around 330, which is bar 72. So this is a reasonable candidate for a buy the close rally and a test of these highs at a minimum. We have good follow through with 74. We have a big gap. Limit order traders are trapped in here. That'll probably create a second leg up for the bulls. And we have a parabolic wedge rally up above these trading range highs with breakout and follow through. Maybe we get a pullback, but we probably get at least a little bit higher. 76 doji, right around a failure price. Bulls tried to bottom here. We sold off aggressively. They're stuck, probably buying the close of 20 or buying below 21. And that's right about where we are now. So we may find more sellers at and above the bar, and we may pull back here. But strong rally, likely more sideways to up, but tails above the bars makes me think that we'll pull back here. And then 78, a strong reversal down, but not much conviction. We have a big tail below the bar, so I imagine we retest the high close, maybe find sellers above the bar, and go more sideways to down. Strong sell signal, we probably trigger the sell. But a tight trading range, probably buyers in the range of 78 and 80, 81, sideways to down. So overall, the day was a trending trading range day. You could look at it as having an upper trading range here and a lower trading range here. You could look at it as having a bull trend from the open that led to a bear reversal. And you could also look at it simply as a trading range day. We just swing up, swing down, a tight trading range for the last part of the day. And we retested the open of the day several times and closed just above the open. So on the daily chart, we have a little doji bar. I imagine we find more sellers above the high tomorrow, probably more buyers not far below the low tomorrow if we sell off. And we have 2 trading range days back to back. So I imagine tomorrow will be some variant of a trading range day as well. We had a lot of trending behavior here for the first half of the day, and then a lot of trading range behavior for the second half. We have some trending behavior here in the last half of the day, and I bring that up because tomorrow on the open, if we don't have a big gap, it's likely that this behavior will continue into the open. So I imagine tomorrow we'll have a trading range open and probably try to form a trading range during the open. So anyways, that's the review. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment, and I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.